Happy New Year, everyone. Good morning and welcome to Atlantic Blowout. Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network, featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events, and stories through correspondent reports, expert opinion, and stakeholders analysis. Today on Blowout, we'll look at the stories. First, 2025 budget. Federal government to build 4 billion naira presidential helipad jetty in Lagos. On global recognition 2024, Tinubu emerges third world most corrupt leader. And on corruption, court orders forfeiture of $49,700 recovered from INEC X-Rec. On governance, prioritize citizens' welfare in 2025, NLC urges federal government. On hardship, minimum wage can buy a bag of rice, Ndume laments. And then India, Home Ministry ranks Nigerians' highest deportees in 2023-2024. We are open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll delve right into the show. Do not go.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Blowout this morning is Ambassador Dr. Ekie C. Ekie. Dr. Ekie is a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
My pleasure being here. Happy New Year.
I wish you the same. And how was the Christmas celebration?
Amazing. Wonderful.
You had fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very well. And on to the story. Federal Ministry of Works has budgeted 4 billion naira to construct a presidential helipad and a jetty in Lagos. Out of the 49.7 trillion naira proposed budget for 2025 presented by President Bola Tinubu on December 18, the ministry will make use of 1 billion naira for construction and rehabilitation projects. The ministry plans to spend 340 million naira on public schools, 289.4 billion naira on roads, and 2.4 billion naira on buildings. The Ministry of Works also allocated 5 billion naira for judgment debt, 5 billion naira for legal fees, 280 million naira for maintaining 7 generators, and 1.7 billion naira for office building renovation. Other allocations include 77.1 billion naira for public-private partnership, due diligence, and negotiations, 15 billion naira for an independent engineer for the Abuja-Makurdi Road, 10.25 billion naira for a pilot HDMI corridor engineer, and 10 million naira for the engagement of media consultants and stakeholders. Also, 34 billion naira will be spent for the dualization of Kano-Katsina Road, 23 billion naira for the rehabilitation of sections 3 and 4 of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Road, and 75 billion naira for phase 1 of the Kano-Katsina Road dualization. The budget also allocated 1 billion naira for asphalting the David Umahi Federal Medical University Road and 2 billion naira for the Lekki Axial Road counterpart funding. The Bauchi-Jigawa State border roads get 15 billion naira for rehabilitation of failed sections. Ambassador Kie, what do you make of this story?
Well, let me first of all thank the Federal Ministry of Works for being able to present her budget. They've done well. And for them to also itemize the areas needed to be funded in the budget for 2025, they've also done well. But the great question is the budget proposal affordable? Can we fund it? But to a very large extent, the budget for Ministry of Works is almost like the national budget for civil constructions, for road, for buildings, anything that has to do with civil. So in other words, it's not just the ministry that is presenting that budget. And of course, Mr. President has presented the holistic budget, capturing that of the Ministry of Works and all that. So the focus is that of the Ministry of Works today, right? So I have a little bit of worriedness, and that worriedness will also mean what Nigerians will be worrying also about. The amount that is being allocated for most of these projects, will it be visible? We're not trying to raise a doubt on any person, but what we will be expecting, because even if we say that this money is too much, the kind of government that we run here in this country, with all due respect, is a system where most times what the leaders has made up their mind to do, that's what they will do. So as citizens of this country, as stakeholders, our prayers and our requests will be, if you have appropriated or allocated money for a particular project and that money is being released, we want to see the evidence of that money. Because if we see the evidence of that money, we will now be glad to say that the Ministry of Works have done well, Mr. President have done well by ensuring that that ministry is being funded, right? But if we do not see the evidence of that appropriation, of that funding, for instance, you talk about 5 billion naira on a particular road amendment or maintenance, and then in the like September, you drive through that road and discover that that road is the way it was, or is even more dilapidated. Then you ask yourself, was it that this budget that was presented to us at the beginning of the year by Ministry of Works, one, were they funded? And if they were funded, was the job actually done? And if it was done, was it done based on specification? So I like to say that the Ministry of Works should ensure that every appropriated resources, because right now as a country, we are going through a whole lot that needs finance. So anyone that is designated to any chunk of the project, I want to see, we want to believe that it will be evidential. The result will be there. So I do not want to interfere with the allocated resources, because I'm sure they have consulted engineers, they have done quotations, they have looked at the current prices of materials, or maybe they also shall have also looked at what they're expecting the market ratio for 2025, and then come up with that figures. But
let us look at allocating 4 billion naira for presidential helipad and jetty in Lagos.
Well, okay.
No, go ahead.
Yes, I think some will want to feel that of what use it is. Now, it is not just Mr. President that is going to use that facility. Sometimes it can go on business, on commercial advantage. Now, the jetty and the helipad,
is the presidential jet also converted to commercial uses as well?
Many a times, one, Mr. President is from Lagos State, and then the helipad, most times, if other dignitaries are coming from other countries, coming to visit Mr. President.
So it is solely for presidential use and not for commercial purposes?
No, it can be commercialized.
So can the presidential jet be commercialized? Has it been commercialized? Has the presidential yacht ever been commercialized? Have you seen the presidential vehicles being used for commercial purposes?
No, you see,
tell me anything presidential that has ever been commercialized in Nigeria. Give me an example of
most times when we talk about commercialization of these things, for instance, if the president of Ghana is visiting Nigeria and we were supposed to pay for him to land in a particular private helipad, for the fact that he's not going to land in our own presidential helipad in Lagos, it saves us that expenditure.
What exactly is it saving us?
For instance, he's our guest, and we need to prepare.
That's not commercialization of the helipad. You can talk about commercialization when the helipad is being opened to the public and they make payments to use it. Now, that's why I said, can you tell me or cite an example of where one presidential, anything with presidents tagged to it, even governor, in this country, has ever been used for commercial purposes?
Most times, when we talk about the commercialization of it, we are always saying that money is being paid for that purpose. But when expenditures is being avoided...
Expenditures like what?
That's what I'm saying.
Paying private helipads. You know, Ekie, one could start talking about, possible expenditures being saved if it is probably these presidential visits are, always happening. But in the case of Nigerian government, it is a case where our president is always on a tour. Our president is always traveling out of the country, and not, foreign dignitaries or foreign presidents always paying a visit to Nigeria. These visits are one and in between for us to say, okay, this is the cost that is going to be saved. Something concrete is going to be saved as a result of building the presidential helipad. Now, 4 billion naira being allocated for presidential helipad and jetty in Lagos at a time in Nigeria when the same federal government is crying that, okay, we are going through so much economically. Ababi on one hand has come out to say that President Tinubu inherited a country that was, did he say, on life support? Okay, now, going by the statement of the number 3 man in this country, which has, opened our eyes to how bad it is already, that we are on life support. Nigeria is on economic life support. You think at this point in time, budgeting 4 billion naira for presidential helipad and jetty in Lagos makes a lot of sense when Nigerians are clamoring that the president should cut down on cost of governance.
Well, the issue of is a tied project.
Tied project, what do you mean?
The jetty and the helipad.
Who tied it?
No. By what the Ministry of Works said.
How is it tied?
The allocation of that, is it 5 billion or 4 billion?
4 billion.
Is for the construction of the...
You say it's a tight project.
The 4 billion is designated for these two projects.
Who designated it?
The Ministry of Works.
Can it be undesignated?
No, you see, let me make this.
Go ahead.
It is a project. Budget does not mean funding. And what we will expect Mr. President to do is to prioritize the needs of Nigerians.
Oh, Lord. Okay, let's come down to that. Prioritizing the needs of Nigerians.
Yes,
you recall Remi Tinubu during campaign said that they don't need Nigerian money, that they are already wealthy, that they are coming in to help Nigerians. And guess what? While Nigerians were crying on the cost of governance, hardship and all that, how much was allocated to the unconstitutional office of the First Lady? Underlining the word, unconstitutional office of the First Lady. How many billions were allocated? How much was spent buying vehicles? Now, the allocation to the office of the First Lady is different. How much was spent buying vehicles for the same unconstitutional office of the First Lady? That's on one hand. At this point in time, how many presidential plane was bought? How many was bought? That at the end of the day, you know, something went wrong in China, and Nigerians got to know that, and they said it was for maintenance. And at the end of the day, you know, at the same time, the same government is buying yacht, presidential yacht, living in squalor and opulence, while the everyday Nigerian, the purchasing power of Nigerians have been cut to the barest minimum. You know, prior to President Bola Tinubu becoming the president of Nigeria, Nigerians were living, they said Nigerians were living below poverty line. Nigerians were living under $1 per person in a day. At this point in time, there is nothing like below poverty line again. Because I don't know, probably Nigerians will say their surname right now is poverty. You understand? Because people that could even afford 2 square meals right now, it's a struggle to afford one. Do you know how many children that are out of school? I can go on and on and on and tell you, is it health deficits, infrastructural deficits, security deficits? Should I go on and on? And at this point in time, Umahi, the Minister of Works, is coming out to say that of all things that he can do with infrastructural deficits that falls under his portfolio is to build 4 billion naira presidential helipad and jet in Lagos. And you're sitting here, Ambassador K, telling me it could be commercialized.
You see, when I said it could be commercialized, that means that I'm saying that it should not be a moribund project. I'm saying that it should not be an exclusive project that should be used when Mr. President... Are
you not a Nigerian, Ambassador Kiye?
Can
we speak of what is relatable?
Because we are starting a new year. Now, we are also expecting new ways of doing things. We are also expecting new ways of actualizing, you know, what we have desired. So I do not want to believe that because we did these things previous years that we can. That's why we are making these suggestions that the presidential helipad, the jetty, of course, is going to be a commercial jetty.
You said it's going to be a commercial jetty.
No. So
what he said is that it's a presidential helipad and jetty in Lagos.
No, you see, most times there are emergencies.
Like?
There are emergencies. Most of these things might not be in the public domain. Now, what we are advocating, or what I am supporting, is that the presidential helipad, the jetty, the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of Transport should collaborate and see how that jetty and the helipad can also be a source.
Do you think at this point in time in this country, this is what we need as a milestone when we are talking about infrastructural development? Do you think that presidential jetty and a presidential helipad is what Nigeria needs?
You see, what I also want to address our mind is, when you look at the budget did not just talk about the helipad and the jetty.
Let's look at other things that
now there are other areas of infrastructures they have allocated money. Now I want
5 billion naira for legal fees, 280 million for maintaining 7 generators, 1.7 billion naira for office, 280 million naira for maintenance,
yes,
maintaining 7 generators,
yes,
1.7 billion naira for office building renovation,
yes,
1.7 billion office building renovation. They also said for offices, then there is another place again, 2.48 billion on office buildings. Now we have 2.48 billion naira for office building. Then we now have for renovating office buildings again 1.7 billion naira. So now 2.48 billion plus 1.7 billion naira is giving us how much just on office buildings?
Now let me most times, because we have not studied the budget to know itemized.
We are looking at what is being itemized.
It's been summarized.
Yes.
What you have is a summary.
The summary is an insight into it,
now,
don't you think?
Not completely.
Okay.
You know, when we talk about Federal Ministry of Works, you have their state offices across the Federation. So it's not that they are only saying a particular office they want in Abuja. Okay,
280 million naira for maintaining 7 generators. Do we still need to look at the budget to break this one down?
Yes, when you talk about 280 naira for maintaining 7 generators, yep. I want to assume that both the dieseling is part of it. Now, you will agree with me that even on our own private usage of generator plant, the bigger ones, maintaining it for 1 year is not anything less than in millions. You know, so it's not because they accumulated it 7. You know, so to maintain it, to ensure that it's in good shape, to ensure that the dieselings are there. You know, so I don't think it's so much of
280 million naira.
It sounds like a very big money.
No. It doesn't sound like a very big money, because I understand maths and I understand business and I understand what it takes to run business, particularly on generators. Let's because I know it's the
diesel is very, very expensive.
We know all that.
Yes,
we know all that, and we also know. I don't want to go deep into Nigerian corruption.
No, you can't.
Really, I'm holding myself back because we also know how some of these people assess diesel.
For free?
I don't want to go into that. Like I said,
for free?
I didn't say for free. Did I ever say that?
No.
I just said I know how even the public officers assess diesel. Let's just assume it's being bought the right way through the right source, and not through, they are not cutting corners probably to get it at a discounted rate, but they are buying through the right source. How much is a drum of diesel? Now, so times that by how many drums per day, times that by per week, and times that by per month.
Well,
now in between, minus some days, some hours for electricity, because I am sure they will be in band A, particularly at the FCT minister, at the FCT level.
Not really.
Whichever way, it is not a total blackout. So we also minus those days. Then you can talk about maintenance of, yes, the parts are expensive, but we're looking at 12 months, 280 million naira. Very well. And you said it's not too much. And 5 billion naira for legal fees as well. And then, like I said earlier, this office building is quite interesting to me because it is divided into 2. We have 1.7 billion naira for office building renovation. And then we now have 2.48 billion naira for office buildings as well. The same item, two different budgets. And according to you, Ekie, there is nothing wrong with it.
No. If you heard me very well, we are in a country where the prices are not stable, and this is a budget. It does not mean implementation. We have auditors. You get it? So my own advocacy and present submission right here is that budgeting does not mean funding.
That's where the problem is, Ekie. When you say budgeting does not mean funding, budgeting does not mean implementation. Yes, I agree with you. However, it brings to mind how far away the persons preparing these budgets are from the reality of the Nigerian situation. Because it's not making sense to me.
No,
hold on. It's really not making sense to me how the federal government or Minister of Works or Ministry of Works in this instance is allocating or appropriating or planning, because you said it's not funding. So let's just speak about it hypothetically. Is planning to, appropriate 4 billion naira for presidential helipad and jetty in Lagos, not mentioning some other items that one may find ridiculous, like having one item with two different budgets. Yes, but then my major interest right now is the presidential helipad and jetty. I'm trying to understand how does this infrastructure now going to positively help Nigerian economy? How is it going to make the lives of everyday Nigerians easier?
You see, when we look at most of these things, I'm not holding brief for government, Ministry of Works. Now, the budget that Mr. President presented is a budget that covers every areas of Nigerians' life and to some extent our needs. So the Ministry of Education has also presented theirs. The Ministry of Humanitarian will present their own. The areas that has to do with the welfares of Nigerians.
And Ministry of the Ministry of Works is not directly.
The ministry.
That ministry, whatever their activities are, do not directly affect Nigerians.
Every ministry is complementing. So we will not, dwell so much on the activities of a particular ministry.
We are x-raying one ministry.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
That's why I'm saying that for the fact that this ministry has presented her vision,
is the vision in line with the current reality of the Nigerian people?
No,
does this vision of 4 billion naira presidential helipad and jetty in Lagos, how does it translate to better lives for Nigerians? Are we looking at the president and his family living in opulence?
No,
I'm asking a question. Are we looking at the president and his family living in opulence and splendor while Nigerians are unable to eat? Listen, this is a situation where minimum wage cannot buy a bag of rice in this country. And you're telling me that this ministry, there are different ministries catering to different needs of Nigerians, so this one can be excused.
No.
The question is, why channel 4 billion naira into the comfort of the president when Nigerians are suffering?
I think, Laurentia, what you are trying to say is that if that 4 billion naira is channeled to take care of my community, you would have been very happy. Now, I want to feel this way.
Go ahead.
That in the issue of the presidential helipad and the jetty, maybe what Nigerians like me and you are looking at is for the Minister for Works, His Excellency David Omai, to tell Nigerians the benefits of that helipad. So I want to call on the Minister for Works to create our time to educate Nigerians on the benefits.
I think you're in the best position to actually say this, because you are of the view that this is a welcome development, and you think it can be commercialized on one hand.
Yes, so that's why
So you feel it's a welcome development. But the question I'm asking with that welcome development is, how welcome is it to Nigerians? Now, considering what we are going through and there's so many deficits in different sectors, do you think this is the appropriate time for this infrastructure?
You know, before the Minister of Works included that in budgets, I'm sure there has been consultation among the leaders of government.
Definitely, you just answered my question.
Good.
The
Now,
leaders are not Nigerians.
No. You see, when you have a leader, you delegated some level of your authority, your feelings, your thoughts to them. So that's why in choice of leadership, we must be very careful, because you have given them that mandate to take some certain decision, to think for you. So my only prayers is that, my first request is that the Minister for Works, His Excellency Senator David Omai, should create a time to educate Nigerians or inform us of the benefits of this presidential helipad and the new jetty in Lagos. I know there are a lot of resources in the marine business. So if it is another way of driving revenue, I think it will be awesome. Then again,
how are we going to drive revenue with presidential helipad?
No. You see,
I really need to. So
that's why.
Make me understand.
So that's why I feel that the initiator, the driver of this project, needs to inform Nigerians or educate Nigerians on the benefit of this project. I think if he does that, our fears and our worriedness will be taken care of. So I think,
well, if you are saying if this project was for Nigerians, probably, let's say, a federal government to build 4 billion naira helipad, jetty, anywhere in this country, whether it's Lagos or anywhere, probably will not be looking at it that, okay, this infrastructure is meant for Nigerians and not for this political class or political elites. And it's not even about the political. In this instance, for the president and the president. No, hold on. It's for the president and the president's family.
No.
This did not say. I have asked you a question.
No, let me.
Ambassador K, the presidential yacht. Have you entered it before?
No.
Do you have access to it?
No. Let me.
Is it open to the public?
When they say, let me let you understand something for the sake of the public.
Go ahead.
Once it is designated presidential, it's not an exclusive gift or project for Mr. President. Let me come.
Go ahead.
It's like when they say presidency. Presidency is a very large institution. Now, where you have so many, agencies inside that presidency, you have so many leaders, so many appointees, so many staffs inside the presidency. So, if they say presidential,
is it not for the same political class I talked about?
So what I'm trying to say is that it is not particularly for one man. So that's why when we say presidential, even
Ambassador Kiye,
yes,
the long and short of this whole thing is that this is for a political class. A political class that you and I do not have business entering into it. Unless by so hold on, Ambassador Kiye.
Go ahead.
The question I am asking right now is this. Because I am beginning to wonder if you're, like I asked you before, are you a Nigerian? I mean, or do you, I don't understand. Do you exist elsewhere and then in the morning you come to our show? Because I want to live where you live, genuinely, because it appears that this whole thing, you appear to be, you know, shielded from the current realities. Hold on, Ambassador Kie. Were you scared to pick your phone this Christmas?
Why?
You were not. Hallelujah. Because I was scared every time my phone rang, because every single call was for one person who has not eaten, or some other whose child is in the hospital on Christmas. And to a large extent, nobody even, when you're even telling you, I can't even tell you I am also struggling, because they feel you're better off.
Of course, you are appearing in television and you're looking good, so they are not wrong.
This is the reality, to a point that people that I ordinarily were even looking up to, it was, this Christmas was, I understand, but to a large extent, it was an eye-opener to how even the middle class, to a large extent, has been eroded. That's what is going on.
I
and
agree.
In this time and generation that we are suffering from serious infrastructural deficit in every sector in this country has serious deficits. In Nigeria, infrastructural deficits, it ranks among the highest deficits we have in this country. And the Minister of Works, who is handling infrastructure, is telling Nigerians that 4 billion naira is being allocated for presidential helipad and jet in Lagos. And you, my dear brother, you are saying, Ambassador Dr. Ekie,
very well,
that this is an applaudable project.
No.
Hopefully, it is going to be, according to you, you are here now appealing to the government to hopefully commercialize it. Well, we are living on hope against hope.
Yes, what I want us to understand is, yes, the economy is biting on everyone. Now, my take is that the budget for 2025 have also made provision for other areas of our welfare. My only worriedness and prayer all the time is that let us see the realities of these budgets.
We are seeing one of the realities.
Now, let me say, our challenge, I think, is not because of the innovation of the helipad. Is the money that is the challenge, right?
The challenge here is from all angles. One, is this the right time for this project? Number two, is the money being channeled to this project, should it even be used for this project? Number three, at this point, should Nigerians and the so-called people in authority be thinking of their opulence, be thinking of their comforts, as against everyday Nigerians right now who are even trekking to work every day?
Well, let me also say,
should we go on and on? Well, I'm looking at the timing, I'm looking at the appropriateness of this budget, I'm looking at the insensitivity, how taken away whatever this is, how does it even relate? I'm looking at its holistic. The perspective is so much in this current economic reality. How does this particular infrastructure translate to economic growth and development? How does it even, is it accessible to Nigerians? Can it help Nigerians right now? How is it going to help us economically and otherwise?
My dear sister,
presidential helipad, whatever, 4 billion naira
whatsoever. Like I said, the presidential or presidency is not one man alone. But let us even assume it's one man. Whatever the president enjoy is the entire Nigerians relatively.
It is not the entire Nigerians relatively.
No, let me come.
Ambassador Kie, it is not the entire I'm sorry, I'm taking you on head on this one. Because it is not making sense to me.
No.
It is not, hold on, that the president from his house enters his presidential convoy and they are clearing the road for him. The president doesn't understand traffic. Even the governor of a state does not understand the meaning of traffic and what people go through in traffic. Now, from there, he enters his presidential jet and lands in his presidential helipad and moves to his presidential apartment where everything is given to him, and he only gets feedback of, I am sure it is only when the president switches on the television that he gets to see the reality of what is going on, because I am beginning to wonder if the people close to him are even telling him the truth. And this kind of budget, this kind of allocation goes to show how removed, far removed the political class is from the daily people.
Can I ask?
And you saying that the president enjoying opulence translates to Nigerians enjoying opulence. I am trying to make that understand that we are having maternal mortality, infant mortality. Our healthcare is in shambles. Doctors and medical practitioners are leaving the country because they do not have conducive working environments. Their pay are very low. Minimum wage cannot hold one single person, not to mention families. We have Nigerians living in abject poverty. So if we have Nigerians whose purchasing power have been greatly reduced. We have inflation at its highest. We have dollar volatility. SMEs are closing down. For FDIs are not even coming into a large extent. We have international corporations and businesses shutting down and relocating to other countries. Nigerian government is borrowing day after day, and CBN is coming out to tell us that the borrowing from the federal government is helping the economy. It is a situation where Adelabu is telling us that power cannot work because of vandalization, and as a result, Nigerians have to generate their own power by falling back to the same diesel and PMS, that the price is out of the roof. Businesses are struggling, and you're telling me, Ambassador Ekie, that the president living in opulence, enjoying grandiose lifestyle, is relative. It is Nigerians that are enjoying it.
I think if you allow me to
go ahead, I am not going to interrupt you.
I think this is first day of the new year, and you sound and you have really presented the challenges Nigerians and Nigeria went through in 2024. So I don't want to believe that we will still go through the same.
Has there been a better yesterday in this country?
Oh yes, I believe last year, this year will be a better year. And I believe you have also prayed for Nigeria.
I did not.
Okay, so if
I did not.
So if you didn't pray for Nigeria, this kind of information and energy you have talking about the challenge of Nigeria, you can also designate 1 minute to pray for Nigeria.
Prayer is not the prayer. You see, this is part of the problem I think that we have in this country. Let us go to countries that are not religious. They don't even have prisons at this point. I can tell you countries that do not have churches, do not have any form of religious affiliation, they don't have prisons. Crime is at the lowest ebb. And guess what? Their economy is thriving. We tend to weaponize religion and make excuses. I am Ambassador Kie.
If you allow me,
you cannot take a swipe at me for not praying for Nigeria. What we have here is religious weaponization. I'm not about to fall into that trap.
Okay, now let me inform you. Let me inform you. When I talk about prayer, I'm talking about goodwill. I'm talking about good expectations.
Prayer is not goodwill.
I'm talking about good expectations. I'm talking about goodwill. I'm talking about good desire for the country this year. That's why, because it's 1st of January 2025, that's why I've said that because the Ministry of Works have come up with some things they want to do to make Nigeria more better, I said I thank them. Is that correct? And I also said that the money that is allocated to these budgets, that my desire and Nigeria's desire is for us to see the evidences of these allocations.
Evidence of the presidential helipad
and other projects. That's not the only focus of that ministry. Now, I have also said that for the minister and the federal government to say they want to build a presidential helipad and a the in Lagos, because Nigerians, we are not very much aware of the benefit of this project, that the Minister for Works should create time to inform Nigerians, educate Nigerians of the benefit of this presidential
You educate
helipad.
Nigerians because, I mean, you have applauded them on the helipad.
No, you see...
I have asked you again to educate us on the benefits of this.
You see...
And you've been unable to do
The
that.
man who have the vision, I can't speak more better than the author of the vision. So the Minister for Works is our minister. He's representing us as Nigerians in that ministry. So we as Nigerians, just like you are struggling to understand the importance, the why in that project, that's how we too, and majority of Nigerians are struggling.
You're not struggling.
No. You see, the vision is amazing.
It's amazing.
Why I said if we have a presidential helipad, you know, tourism is one of the things that boosts income.
Presidential helipad.
Now if we have a
Ambassador K, you're linking presidential.
No. You see, I don't want to believe that the Minister for Works do not understand the importance of the presidential helipad, and for the National Assembly and the President to okay it and the jetty. I think there is something amazing about it. So really? That's why I want the Minister for Works to come and tell Nigerians how amazing this project is all about. So, and I think in no distant time, he was going to tell Nigerians the benefits and how amazing these projects are. For me, I congratulate him for initiating such an amazing project. Right. But we just want to know the benefit. I think that's where Nigerians are struggling. You know,
no, that's not where Nigerians
and beside that, no. If he tells us the benefit, you might even say that is the 4 billion naira enough? You know, so if the benefit is so amazing, we can even say that let them increase it. In fact, let the helipad be in every state. Let the jetty be in every state. So we just want to know the benefit. And once we know, I don't think we will struggle. But for me, it's not something alien in the world. Presidential helipad is something that growing economy, growing nations have.
Growing economy,
growing nations. Yeah, so that's why we don't want to remain as undeveloped country. We believe 2025 Nigeria is set for a growing nation. Yes, and I want to think that because Nigerians are struggling, the Minister for Works is going to inform Nigerians on the benefit of this project.
You know, the good thing is, you're speaking and you're laughing because it's
a new year. Yeah. I have to be happy. I have to rejoice. Just like I rejoice in the new innovation of presidential helipad.
Did you pray for Nigeria?
Yes, I do.
What perspective, what angle was
I'm expecting a better Nigeria.
Through which success?
I'm expecting...
Is a miracle going to happen?
No. You see, when we talk about prayers, I'm not saying what God alone should do. I'm talking about what we desire to do for our country. You think, you know, one of the things, I don't know whether you're Christian or Muslim. I'm a Christian. Okay, very well. And you know that the Bible also says, the Bible that you carry says that prayer, faith without good works. That's why the ministry... there is underlying in the works. It's not even just the works. The works have to be good. Good works. And good works can only come from good leadership and good policies and implementation of good policies. So policies that are friendly to the people. Are the things policies we are that expecting. Policies that actually show and reflect that the government, the leaders are sensitive to Nigerians, that they understand, that they hear what Nigerians That's what I'm expecting this year. No, when you sit there, is not what you're expecting this year. When you sit there, what we are expecting this year, probably Nigerians will come to a point where they would say, "Are you not optimistic this year?" Had it been, probably we have change of leadership. So are you saying that until Tinubu leaves, Nigeria will not get better? That's not the point. So what are you saying? Tinubu has been in government for as long as I can remember. Every single person in leadership has been in leadership for the past 3 decades. So it is still the same state of people recycling themselves. No. Hold on. When you pray and you come out and applaud the government
even when clearly the policies of the government is robbing the people of governance, it becomes a problem because you pray and you're not adding good works. You're working, but the question is the work good?
That's why.
The thing.
You see, that's
so
why.
Now,
that's
you
why.
You have said, you sat down here and you applauded this project. You applauded the Minister of Works. While I respect your opinion, my concern is the state of the economy, the state of Nigerians, the condition Nigerians have found ourselves, the level of deficits. I have mentioned deficit in the health sector and every other sector, including infrastructural deficit.
I am sure.
And of all the infrastructural deficits in this country, the Minister of Works, Umahi, found it worthy at this time to prioritize.
I think you are discrediting. I think you are discrediting the Minister for Works. You are,
you are
discrediting the budget.
I am discrediting the budget.
When you read,
I am a Nigerian. Hold on.
When you read the budget, can you also tell us money designated for roads? Can you also tell us, you read them out?
Wait, let's
Let's go to all that.
Hold on.
All I'm only trying to say is that
you have defended 280 million naira being allocated for generators, maintenance of 7 generators. You have defended office buildings. You have defended office buildings.
I am only raising my opinion. Can you also tell us areas that, see, if you tell us, you should need to tell us that what Nigerians, we have bad roads. And there are money designated for those roads, which are the things some of us wants to know, because those ones will benefit us. So if you inform me, like as you have read out, that total amount of money has been budgeted for the east-west road or for the road that leads to Benue, those who are from Benue will be expecting that, oh, thank God, let us believe that this road will be constructed. So we need to give
the people in Benue and all whatnot will be believing that this road will be constructed. You are in River State. Hold on, Ambassador Kia. Let us even go to East-West Road in River State. When was this road commissioned by Umahi? And up until now, what is the state of that road?
Is there no budget allocated?
Hold on. I am not interested in the budget allocation
for the roads.
No, I am not.
Why?
What I am interested.
But I'm interested in that. So also let me know.
We do not have much time to dwell into.
Yes.
My interest is not when the budget appears to be in line. I am questioning anything that is in the budget that does not align with the reality of the Nigerian child.
No.
Because this has a lot to do with the future of our children. And to a large extent, our taxes, my money, is part of whatever is being budgeted.
So we are going to minus, the government needs to minus your own, they should minus your own tax so that they cannot go ahead with their food.
Now I am saying that this 4 billion naira this 4 billion naira allocated for presidential helipad and jetty, of what use is it at this point in time? However, fingers crossed, we are out of time for this story.
Thank you.
You have made your
please
position
inform Nigerians the roads and the institutions that the Ministry of Works have also budgeted money, so that Nigerians will
read it out.
So we also need to know, because your part of your duty is to inform Nigerians, some of the good things that is being planned. If the helipad is not good enough, I think no Nigeria will say the road is not good. So also inform Nigerians that the roads of this area has been, budgeted for.
Did you listen when I read the news?
I want us to do more emphasis on it.
But
the emphasis the emphasis more is on the helipad and the jetty.
This is what it is. When I read the news, I was clear on the breakdown. Each road, I did not even generalize the road.
Good.
I stated each road.
Can you mention one again?
I am not going to.
You can't even remember because your challenge is not the elephant.
The emotional blackmail is not going to work because I had read it out. Now, the focus of this conversation is not on the roads.
It's the elephant. But I thought it's the budget.
The focus of this conversation, of all the things that are being allocated in the Ministry of Works, is the presidential helipad.
Okay, that's where you just have issues.
Any day I am discussing the road, or any day I'm going to discuss the maintenance of the 7 generators, or any day I'm going to discuss the allocation for office, the dual allocation for office buildings. Ambassador Kia, you can be sure that I will bring you back to be the spokesperson for Umahi, and
is the road that I'm interested more.
And I am not about to discuss
my
that
interest is the
because
road.
we are out
because
of time. We are out of time.
No
for
problem.
That. No, the helipad.
But let Nigerians be aware that money has been budgeted for road construction.
You don't need to say that, because if they have followed us from the beginning of the conversation, I am sure, just like you heard, that they heard the roads that have been allocated and how much has been allocated for that. So I'll not let you deflect the conversation.
So let's also encourage government. Let's also encourage the minister.
It is your job to do that, and you're doing it beautifully. However, ridiculing and undermining the pains of Nigeria while you're at it. Now, moving forward to the next story, President Bola Tinubu has ranked among the world's most corrupt leaders. This is according to a ranking released by the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, OCCRP. The award comes after a global poll that sought to spotlight individuals notorious for promoting corruption and criminal activities were released. According to the OCCRP, Tinubu came third in the poll, following Kenyan President William Ruto and former Indonesian President Joko Widodo. With Tinubu's alleged history as a cocaine dealer in Chicago and allegations of certificate forgery has also been cited as reasons for his inclusion in the OCCRP ranking. However, the overall Person of the Year title was awarded to Bashar al-Assad, the recently ousted leader of Syria. Tinubu's alleged role in entrenching a regime of corruption in Nigeria earned him this dubious distinction, according to the report. It further said his 8-year tenure as governor of Lagos from 1999 to 2007 was marred by allegations of corruption and amassing wealth for himself and his family. Ambassador Kia, what do you have to say to this?
Well, I think it's a national blackmail on our leader.
Okay.
And then it does not represent whom the president of Nigeria is. I could also agree possibly is a politically initiated and motivated report.
Global report.
It doesn't mean, the fact that it's a global organization doesn't make it the apex global organization.
Doesn't make it immune from political
yes, that has to do with integrity.
You're right.
So I want to call on this organization to retrieve this kind of course, freedom of information anyway. They may not retrieve it, but I think it does not represent whom the president of Nigeria is. My president is not what they have presented him to be. So if they said our president is the third most corrupt president, they are saying that Nigeria is, associated with corruption. So, and I am not a corrupt leader, and I know that Nigerian president is not what they say. Now, if the judgment is based on his record while as governor, so you can see the political blackmail.
They brought it down. It wasn't just while he, according to the records, they also had to bring out a drug.
That's what we are saying.
He had in Chicago.
These are records.
And also issues around certificate forgery.
That's what we are saying now.
The issue around certificate forgery, Ambassador Kie, did it or did it not happen?
You are aware.
Did it or did it not happen?
You are aware that during the presidential election period and after that period, there were clear certifications that these matters were in court. You are aware. And if the Nigerian court...
Was there ever a time, there was ever a move in a court in US to stop the Chicago State University from releasing the president's...
No. You see, what we need to understand...
Shouldn't there be transparency in issues like this?
There was transparency.
Okay.
What I don't agree is the social engineering of the Westerners, trying to make our leaders or make Africans in entirety to be something that you can't write anything good about. Now, you talk about issue of certificate forgery. These were things that went to court. The drug issues. So even the issue of his, what do you call it, corrupt practices while as Lagos State Governor, these matters were in courts and it was exhausted. So you cannot be insulting
when you say trying to demonize Africa by the Western forces. Now, the person that took the award as the first, because they called it an award, interestingly, is the former president of Syria. And Syria in Africa.
You know, when I say, I understand what I'm saying. Now, this Syria is not a Western country.
It's not an African country.
That's what I'm saying.
But you say it's
no. I'm
this thing is
engineered. I'm speaking from the West and, you know, Asia. There is this, you know, global war. There is this global, you know, disrespect for each continent. There are continents that feels that they are the best. There are continents that feels that they are okay. Whereas we see what they do to our people who are over there.
What are our people doing to us?
What their focus on,
I think we should even be focused on what African leaders are doing to Africa.
Good. Now,
should we leave the Westerners and focus on what African leaders
are doing to Africa? I am not saying that we have 100% good leaders in Africa. Most of our leaders are bad. Most of our leaders.
You said most.
When I say
so, when you say most, then whatever you call political manipulation, then saying most of our leaders are bad negates your earlier statement of political manipulation by the Western countries.
We saw recently, we heard about the sex scandal of the current president of America, Donald Trump, right? That didn't stop Americans from voting him as their new president. There are issues that surround Donald Trump even before the elections. You are aware. There were court challenges, court contentions, and all of that. But because they feel that he was not convicted, you know, and he was still qualified to be their president. This is almighty America. Now,
was there a convention in the case of President Bola Tinubu?
No.
Related with regards to the drug
not at all
issue in Chicago?
Not at all. Now, what we are trying to say is that this report is politically initiated and motivated. It's very obvious, because if the report is based on his current leadership as the president of Nigeria, it would have made sense, because you do not come and bring out a history of a man 20 years ago, and then that's what you are using to present a judgment in 2024. That tells you how political it is. So I feel that my president should have been judged based on his performance, how he has condoned corruption. And these are the instances.
How he has done what?
No. It is they talk about how he has condoned corruption, how he has not fought corruption, how he has misbehaved, and cite the instances.
Has the president been fighting corruption?
Of course, we have agencies.
Give me instances, please.
You are aware of the former CBN governor.
Betedu is still working free, she not?
Pardon?
Has there been a clear conviction of all the allegations? I mean, Betedu's story broke early this year, and it has gone silent. I was even shocked.
The matter is still in court now. I was even
shocked yesterday when she came out to make a statement. I was like, oh, interesting, all right, very well. You understand. There were issues around, and you recall that Betedu scandal also brought in, I think, was it the Minister of Interior was also affected in that scandal as well. I can go on.
And he excused her out of the government, is it not?
But the Minister of Interior is still Minister of Interior.
No. You see, allegation does not mean conviction.
Well, but it is not convicted. She should have still.
The matter is in court.
Well, Minister of Interior.
If the cases, the president, in his wisdom, knows what is good and what is not good. So I believe that these people are not convicted. Until they are convicted, we cannot tag them as corrupt people. There are allegations. So once the court pronounce them corrupt, then you can say this person.
Now, if I may remind you, because you know you are very quick to quote America, and that's what happens most times. You know, people quote America. We are in a third world country, but then let's still go back to America, shall we? In situations where most leaders who are already in office, not running for office like Donald Trump, but people who already are in office, either elected or appointed, is a situation where a little, at the mere mention of a little scandal or linking their names to the slightest of scandals, they resign from office.
No. You see,
I need you to build the Nigerian system, yes, because you started citing America. So let's go with American standard.
You see, what
in governance and politics.
What I expect is that this judgment, because they said
the judgment, it's an award.
No, they said the president of Nigeria, is it not? If they have said the former governor of Lagos State, it would have meant that the judgment,
the award was to world leaders, not governors.
That's what we are saying now.
It was meant for leaders, not governors.
Good, but the insight, the reference was when he served as a governor. So that's why I told you that this is a politically...
They made reference from then to date.
No. You see,
they made reference from then to date.
No.
And in this instance, you understand, the president, Tinubu, became president, and still that saga or certificate was still hanging. You see, these are things you cannot. And will you say? Do you get now? If I may ask you, Ambassador, what were the indices?
Of what?
Are you privy to the indices
of what?
that they considered to attend to this?
No, it's the point I'm trying to let you know here is, you see, you can't judge Nigeria with American Constitution. You can't judge...
You were citing America here. We are very quick to cite America.
I know what I'm saying. You can't judge Nigeria with Equatorial Guinea's constitution. You can't judge Nigeria by your organizational constitution. If the constitution of Nigeria cleared His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Bola Tinubu as presidential candidate for the election, it means that he qualified to become the president. Now, if he ran the election, there were matters in contention about most of these things that they cited.
Was there a pass that was used as well?
Pardon?
Was there a pass that was linked? Now you're saying whatever happened in the past when he was Lagos State Governor, according to them, and when he was in Chicago, all those things do not count.
There was a Supreme Court ruling before the election, before the inauguration, that this issue of drug and certificates were cleared. You are aware. So if our Supreme Court have exonerated our president with our law, I don't think somebody elsewhere needs to come and indict the president, because it's an indictment. And I feel that if he's a Nigerian or this organization operates in Nigeria, I think they should have been sued, because it's an insult to our judicial system.
They should have been sued.
Of course.
For having freedom of speech and expression, for asking questions,
for opposing. It's like they're giving.
Are we running a tyrannical? Is it? Do you want to turn us to? Is it North Korea or South Korea?
You can't give a new judgment when there is.
This is not a judgment. This is they called it an award. No, it is not. Now I need to go. It is not a judgment.
Defamation of character.
Well, you can come from that angle, but it is not a judgment. Don't call it a judgment. They called it an award.
I want to tell this organization that I'm awarding you as the most corrupt organization in the world, because you are so insensitive and you are not very up to date. Because if you want to judge a leader by his present statutes, you called him the current president of Nigeria. Is that not? So the judgment around him, if it has to do with corruption, should be what has happened
while he was president.
Yes. If you tell us that you looked at his fight against corruption, that it was low compared to other leaders around the world, in this area, they will begin to reason with you.
All right.
We cannot look inward. You say, is my president, is President of Nigeria actually fighting corruption? Is he actually condoling corruption by this recent, award to him? It calls for concern. But we looked at the summary of their judgment. It's based on past record. And I want to feel that our president should not cross over with such kind of judgment. We are expecting a better Nigeria. We are expecting a better leader. We are expecting a better governance. And then one set of organizations somewhere is saying that my president is the third most corrupt president in the world. How?
All right, very well. Ambassador Ekiye, it's going to be a wonderful 2025, right? Like you have said. Let us be very hopeful.
One.
I mean, miracle. The Nigerians will always say miracle, no, they tire Jesus.
It's not
so
even not about.
Let's just be. No, you said you have prayed now. You're a Christian.
Yes.
So,
and I'm expecting
first of, I can assure you, 1st of January 2026, you'll be on this show. And we'll talk about your prophecies and your projections for 2025. No, don't worry. 2020, you'll be alive. 2026, 1st of January,
the testimonies about Nigeria
we will have another date.
It will be a different
2026
and
January.
And
I will play some of the things you have said here. All right. Thank you very much, Ambassador Ekiye, for coming. It's always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, our viewers, for always staying connected to us, but sadly we're out of time and we have to wrap it up at this point. But we are open for advert placements, bookings and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. Open Conversation comes up shortly. Do not go away. I am Laurentia Ugu.